If you're listening to us on YouTube, please subscribe. That gets this out to more people. If you're listening to us on one of the podcasting sites, also subscribe too. If you're listening to us on another platform besides that, just tell your friends and your family. We try to get these interviews out to as many people as possible here. Check us out on Twitter, Convos with Rob on Twitter. I put all my videos up there also, trying to get that out now. Just started doing that, pushing that out. But we have Vanessa Barnes on today. She's a realtor over in the Orlando, Central Florida area, Davenport, Kissimmee, Windermere, Celebration, all that area. I'm not going to even get to every place, every city or town in the area. So it's a lot of area to cover. But we're going to be talking about the real estate market in that area. So Vanessa, I appreciate you coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule to do this with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share with your audience questions that are probably, I know questions you're going to ask me are probably questions the audience is thinking about right now.
Well, let's even start with a little bit of an introduction with you. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about you and what made you want to get into real estate?
Well, my name is Vanessa Franz, and I'm with Keller Williams Realty at the Lakes here in Celebration, Florida. And actually, getting into real estate was sort of accidental. For those, this is kind of a little fact that people probably don't know about me. I actually wanted to be a chiropractor.
Oh, wow.
And I went to University of Florida, and I actually got, a pre-med degree and a business management degree. And I got accepted into chiropractic school, and I went one semester, and I was like, this is not for me. Yeah. Cadaver lab, any of that. No. So, and then I met my husband at the time, and he was actually going to chiropractic school. And so I got a job in HR temporarily until we relocated back to Osceola County here in Kissimmee. And 9/11 had just happened, and I couldn't find employment. It was very difficult. So I ended up getting a temp job for a real estate company that sold new construction homes in Dr. Phillips. And they decided to hire me on full time. And that was 2002. And then he said, well, why don't you get your real estate license? I said, if you pay for it, sure. And he paid for me to get my real estate license. And thus my real estate career was born.
So we talk about being a realtor. What do you feel like if somebody's looking to sell or buy a house, whatever it may be, what clues should they look into when they're finding a realtor to make sure that realtor is good for them?
Ask questions.
Right.
I know that sounds so simple, but ask questions, because here's what we find. I think that, when I look on the MLS, say for my buyers that are looking for properties, what I recognize is a lot of people don't have professional photography. There's really no marketing platform. What sort of experience does that realtor have? And I think the most important thing is building that rapport, establishing expectations. What I like to ask my clients is, what are your expectations of me in our relationship together? So whether it's communication, or are they looking for honesty and integrity? Are they looking for a reputation? So looking at reviews. Is it a friend or family referral? So I think there's a lot of things that people are looking for, but I think the thing I would tell clients most is ask your realtor questions.
So we'll get into the whole housing issue right now, because there's a lot of nits and crannies to it. We probably want to get into all of them, but we'll try to get into as much as possible. I'm extremely familiar with the Central Florida area, visited there, lived there. In general, and worked all over the place in Central Florida. So when we talk about the areas that you're in, Celebration, Dr. Phillips, Davenport, Windermere, Winter Garden, and the list goes on and on. Who is buying houses in those areas right now? Is this people moving from heavy tax states, New York, Chicago, California, or are we seeing just people from foreign countries come here and buy second homes? What are you seeing right now in 2022?
I think I'm going to reflect back on 2021 and, during COVID period, right? Because obviously I have a good handle and knowledge on what happened then. But I think when COVID happened, you had a lot of people that went to remote working. So they're coming from states like New York. That was one of our #1 states of incoming buyers, was New York, of course. Because hello, who doesn't want to be in Orlando? The weather here is amazing. It's such an amazing city. And I think you had a lot of these people that were saying, oh, I can work remotely. So they're going from their 600 square feet apartment, right, in Manhattan or wherever they're at, and they can get, an 8-bedroom home with a pool here for 700, right? So they're going from a small property to a very large property, and with the understanding that they can work remotely now. So I think you had a lot of that, those opportunities bubble up. So we got a lot of people from New York, California. Those were kind of our two most, for me personally, looking at my data, that's where a lot of my people move from.
So we do see here in 2022 now, I know you just spoke about 2021, and the data is not fully in, we're only 3 months into the year, that inflation is sky high right now. A lot of people that are working people, middle class, maybe even, a little above that with the upper class are struggling because gas is up, everything is up. So what do you feel like when you're out, showing these houses or working with these people on these houses? What are they telling you now? Are people just still, they don't give a damn because they're moving from a high tax state to a low tax state? Or are people saying, hey, maybe we should tighten up a little bit more because we don't know how high the gas is going to go. We don't know how high the electricity is going to go and everything else in the kitchen sink.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it is too early to tell. I can tell you the feedback, I think, from buyers. We had a lot of buyers that were on hold, in certain holding patterns, and now coming back to the market. And the word they use is sticker shock.
Right.
That's a great word, because if you were in the market a year or 2 years ago and you're coming into the market now, you're saying, what happened to these prices? I mean, we had in Florida a 42% overall increase in prices in the last 2 years. It was like 4% quarter over quarter increase in pricing, in the median pricing, I'll say. So, you have this huge jump. And then so clients coming into the market now, like I said, it's kind of too early to tell to see what'll happen. But I think people just need to understand that if they want to buy. If they want to wait. We really try to understand where our client's coming from and take the time to say, okay, are you really in the market? Are you ready, willing, and able to do the work to get a house in today's market? But let's put some numbers here, right? So at the peak of the downturn, there was about 31 month supply of homes. 31 months. This is according to Orlando Regional Realtor Association. Right now, we have 0.78 month supply of home. So hopefully that gives the viewer some context. So I think to have a bubble, to have a burst, we're going to have a significant increase in inventory, which right now, based on my research, based on what I'm seeing, it's going to take a significant amount of homes to flood the market to create kind of that bust scenario.
Yeah, but just to push back on a little bit, and this is from the Orlando Sentinel, and I researched this before we did the interview. Orlando is ranked number 2 in foreclosures in the country right now. So, that's not good.
That's a great question. Okay. And I want to bring some validity to this. In 2010, okay, again, I'm going to go back to what happened because I think it's important to make the connection. I know you don't want to, but I'm going to go there. We had 485,000 foreclosed properties.
This is in the whole state or in just the city of Orlando?
In Florida.
Okay.
Okay. Now we only have 1,500. So let's put it in perspective. Yes, we might be number 2, but let's put it in perspective and relate it to what happened in the past. So, I mean, hopefully that gives your viewers some sort of context and reassurance, right? And if you look at the foreclosures in last week in our multiple listing services is Orange, Osceola Lake, and Polk counties, we only had 4. 4.
That's interesting.
In our area, right? So I think it's really important. I mean, the data out there is really, it's kind of like throwing a net, right? And you're hoping to collect a fish. But I think it's important to have a realtor like myself or someone that you know and trust and love to really get localized on the market, because it really is market specific. and I hope your viewers find that information helpful, because I think you got to bring it back to the granular.
I agree with you. You have the stats. I can't disagree. I'm just worried. Again, I'm just worried that, it might be 1,500, but again, this inflation crisis is not going to go away in 2 weeks, not 2 months, could be more than a year. So
well, let me make a public service announcement. Here's what I want people to understand. We have some of the highest equity in homes than we've ever seen.
Sure.
And it's good quality equity. This people, I think back in the day, I'll call it back then, people pulled out all this money in their homes to buy investment properties and cars. I think we learned a lot from what happened in the past. And honestly, I always tell my clients, call me first before you do anything. Let me counsel you, to advise you. Is it appropriate for you to pull money out? Use us as the expert, guys. We've got our pulse on the market. We know what's happening. We're your boots on the ground. Like, we were just having a conversation with my brother-in-law yesterday, and he's like, I want to do a refi. I said, why? Why do you want to refi? Well, we want to pull money out. Well, what are you using the money for?
Right.
These are questions that we need to have serious conversations so we don't make the same mistake. But what I want to say is, for those of you that are falling on hard times, you probably have so much equity in your home, you don't even realize it. You don't have to do a short sale probably. You don't have to go into foreclosure. Call an expert and get an evaluation and get out from under it before it gets too bad.
Which places do you feel like are really hot spots in Orlando? Is it one of those spots? Is it a place that I didn't even name yet?
Lake Nona.
Right, because of Disney.
City, all of that.
But is that because Disney and all those jobs just went over there?
Well, you've got the tennis
Right.
complex there. You've got, the VA hospital. You've got
Sure.
Nemours. You've got a whole medical city right there.
Yeah, UCF's got the medical center over there.
Yeah,
medical
absolutely.
school.
Honestly, all those areas are hot. Haines City's hot. Winter Haven's hot.
Really?
Everything's hot. Yes, because they're flying off the shelves. You can't keep them because people just want to find a place to set up home. They want to find a home.
Yeah.
So, even though, and I know you're probably going to touch on this, but the traffic situation.
Yeah.
But, even with the traffic situation, people are willing to go a little farther out because, again, maybe they only have to go in the office 1 or 2 days a week now with remote working, So, again, it goes back to that conversation with a buyer. Where are you traveling to? How many days a week are you having to go to work? Where is your work? Let's position you. How many hours are you comfortable being in the car a day driving to and from work, right? Having these conversations so we find the right fit for the buyer.
As far as the customers that you're dealing with right now, what is like the average price?
Yeah, so we're in the range of around $450 to $500. Okay, we do some lower, but generally in that Winter Garden area, that's kind of where we average, right? And generally it can be $50,000 above the asking price.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
But is that's just for Winter Garden? But if you were to move into, and Winter Garden's a beautiful area and it's really upcoming area. I know Winter Garden Village. They just built a hospital right near Winter Garden Village. I think they're building another hospital on 50. 50, I think. I could be mistaken too. But anyways, so what about like places like Claremont and Celebration? Obviously, I would think that Celebration would probably be the highest, maybe Dr. Phillips going second or Windermere second.
Yeah. Again, it really depends on the neighborhood too. So you want an example? I'll give you one. So I just had a client relocate from Chicago and they were looking, they're like, get me anything in this area, find me anything and I'll make it. That's how it was because, when you're selling your home and you're moving here, they didn't want to rent because they're like rent prices. That's a whole nother YouTube video conversation about how the rental prices have gone. But they were like, get me anything. So they were all in, they were ready, willing and able to do the work. And we ended up going like $35,000 above the asking price. And we're in the 300 range here. Yeah. So they went about 35,000 above and waived appraisal.
Wow.
And they beat out cash offers. So
most of the cash offers though from those groups, the I know you use the terminology, the iBuyers.
iBuyer. Yeah.
Is that what usually the cash offers are?
Yeah, I mean, they can be successful at writing offers. I mean, taking listings myself, I do get those people wanting to make offers. Generally, they're not as competitive. So I think it's important, you know, because I know a lot of sellers will get these iBuyer calls off market, meaning they literally will call the seller on the phone before they're listed and say, sell to me. And oftentimes the seller doesn't realize that if they put it on the open market, they could net more money because you have one buyer versus how many billions in the world that have exposure to your property, right? Because I mean, this is a internet makes it global, right? Your home goes global at that point. So you're taking an offer from one person where you could be taking offer from numerous more, infinity more, you know? So I think it's important that we be really careful as sellers in this market, not to just take the first offer that comes along.
Can you talk about what an iBuyer is?
Sure. So that's like, for example, OfferPad, Open Door. There's a lot of investor groups that are, you know, hedge fund based that have millions.
So like the Blackstone stuff that we've been talking about.
Yep, okay. Exactly. So people like that will come and make an offer on the listing, and they'll even offer it. Open Door and OfferPad won't, but some of those investment groups will offer it when it's on the market as well. So once it's listed, they'll make an offer. But I'll give you an example. I just had 2 clients that got Open Door offers. And again, I'm not knocking Open Door and OfferPad. They have a platform that works in many cases for clients, right? But I'm just saying, do your homework, do your due diligence. I netted one client 7,000 more and another client 21,000 more.
Wow.
21,000 more
Crushing
dollars
it.
than that platform. So just, again, it has a purpose. And I always tell my clients, if you want to go through that platform, use me still. Right? Because they actually pay realtors, believe it or not.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, they do. So I think it's important if you're thinking about listing your home, call a realtor first, like myself or someone that you know, love, and trust, and have them bid it for you.
Yeah. Again, these are the people. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Vanessa.
No, go ahead. No, go.
No, I was just going to say, again, these are the people that you get the mail from, the text messages from, the calls from. Can we buy your house?
Yes.
And I mess with those people all the time.
Like my neighbor across the street, I went over and visited with her, and she was like, Vanessa, why are these people calling my phone? I said, next time they call, you give them my number and say, I have the best realtor on the planet. Call her. And she's like, I'm totally going to do that next time. So I'm just waiting for those calls to come in.
Now, if they were to go to a realtor, these iBuyers, is the cut like less than obviously than what you would get personally, correct?
Well, it depends. And again, I'm speaking of OfferPad or Open Door, that they do work with realtors. And I think that's so smart. I think that's so smart because we have, these are great. Like I said, these are great options for sellers, but you have to get local too. So we have the pulse on the market, and they actually like us to be the intermediary. Like when Zillow was buying homes, right. I was actually an intermediary for a client of mine.
Oh, wow.
So, and I think it's important that you have an expert that has your back.
Do you feel like middle-class housing has declined in Orlando because of the housing prices and there's not enough inventory, and a lot of people, let's be honest, most of Orlando is service-based. It's restaurants, it's hotels, Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, and that's the majority of the people that work in Orlando and around the cities. A lot of these people are lower middle class or middle class, so they're either renting or they do have the money to buy. But a lot of them can't afford $500,000 or $600,000 houses, and that's what a lot of the regular houses are selling for right now. What is your opinion on that?
Well, I think that's a great question, actually, and how I'm gonna spin it is this: the interest rates are extremely low, and I think a lot of people don't realize that they can probably buy a home. They just haven't raised their hand or don't know where to start. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for anybody to buy a home, right? And actually my team is filming a video right now as we speak with a lender, and we're actually doing a buyer consult with a lender. Like, this is a millennial buyer that is basically saying, where do I start? How do I buy a home? Right? Asking the questions that I think people are afraid to ask, because it's scary if you don't know what you're doing, right?
Right.
So I think it's just asking the question, can I buy? Do I want to buy? That's really the first question. Do I want to own? Do I feel like I'm going to be here for a while? You know, and picking up the phone and making a call to someone that you trust.
Well, again, they don't teach any courses in high school, college, nothing on,
no,
how to buy a home, how to deal with money in general. So it's
yes.
either you really do your own research and really learn on your own, or you're screwed, in plain English. It's terrible.
And we saw this need, actually. And, sometimes it takes me a while. I've been in this industry for 20 years, but I was like, we should do a video around what a buyer consultation looks like from the lending side, right? So what are some questions? And actually what we did was we asked friends of this person that's doing the interview. Actually, she's on my team. She asked her friends, like, what are some questions you would have that you're afraid to ask? And the questions were amazing. And I'm thinking, there is such a need here to educate the public that home buying, even though prices have gone up, interest rates are historically low. I mean, they are like, it's free money, guys, still. And I think that there's an opportunity that we're missing on education, to tell people, raise your hand if you're interested and come to someone like myself, and we'll walk you through the process.
What would you say to the people that are saying, you know what, I think this market's going to drop like a rock, whether it's this year or next year or the year after that, and I'm going to wait, I'm going to hold my assets and my money, and then once it drops, I'm going to swoop in there like a vulture and capitalize. I mean, we saw that and I told you this when we spoke on the phone, back in like 2009, 2010 in Miami. They had those $1 million apartments right over the ocean, which will probably be underwater in about 20 years. But besides the point, there was people that swooped in there and got those for like 50, 60,000 when they were over $1 million a piece. So would you tell those people that, maybe they have quite a bit of money, instead of buying now where the prices are high, if you got time, wait it out, and then you can really cash in and get 2, 3, 4 houses maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I have some concerns around that, because I always go back to, is the buyer ready to buy now? If you're ready to buy now, don't wait, because we don't know if the market is going to adjust. We don't know how much it's going to adjust. We've got to have a significant increase in inventory to shift this market. Right now, I'm going to look at my data real quick. We've been under a month's supply of homes for 1 year. A whole year. We have never exceeded a month supply of homes. So I think we have to have a drastic shift in the inventory to cause some sort of crisis in the market. So even with inflation and gas prices and things like that, people have so much equity in their homes. So it's hard to say if it will happen, when it will happen. But if interest rates go up, I just had a lender, I'll share this with you. Maybe you can share it as a little attachment in the video. But I had my lender do an analysis of current prices versus current interest rate and what it would look like if interest rates went up along with prices. And I mean, it could be a 50% difference in your payment, meaning like the differential. So for example, I'm looking to the side because I want to get this right. So you have $660 purchase price, 10% down, a 4.75% interest rate, a principal and interest of $3,000. If the interest rate at $660 at 4%, it's $2,800. So that's a big difference in a payment every month, right? So that gives people perspective, because I think we can grasp at straws and we can give, an analysis here and there, but let's look at the facts. And the fact is, if you wait and interest rates go up, you're going to end up paying more.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. How many houses have you sold? I know you have this in your head. You have to.
I probably because when I started in the industry back in 2002, I sold new construction, and then I went into the market in 06, right before the Great Recession.
Oh,
So I
gosh.
think I've calculated several thousand homes that I've sold in my career, adding the new construction, because one development we did about 300 homes. And then I did a condominium complex that was about 150. And then last year alone, we helped 87 families last year
Wow.
buy and sell homes. Yeah. So, and that was about 32 million in volume. So I want to say it's well into the thousands, probably.
Vanessa, can you tell people what you hope they learned from this interview today?
I think what I would like people to take away, especially from a buyer's perspective, is raise your hand and ask questions. We are here as your expert, and we're here to walk you through the process. And no question is too silly or too dumb as people. I have a dumb question. There's no dumb questions in real estate. This is the biggest financial purchase you will make. So, you know, and I don't take that lightly. Our team doesn't take that lightly. And I'm sure other professionals in the industry do not take that conversation lightly. So I think it's really important to raise your hand. And I think as we transition into, you know, some uncertain times here, from a seller's perspective, if you're in trouble, if you're behind, also raise your hand. Call an expert, because a short sale foreclosure is probably unlikely at this stage, especially with the amount of equity in homes. So just call on someone to help you. It's okay to ask for help. I think we have, as human beings, I think we find that difficult, but I think it's really important to just say, I need someone to help me.
Again, for people listening, this was Vanessa Barnes here on Fire Breathing Rob. Vanessa, where can people find more about you, learn more about you in general?
Sure. They can find me on IG at the Barnes Real Estate Team, or on Facebook, the Barnes Real Estate Team.
And do you have a website also?
Oh, go there. It's better information.
Okay.
It's more timely. We have information on what's happening in the marketplace. We have giveaways every quarter. Right now, we're actually giving away 4 park hopper tickets to Magic Kingdom. So you can register, go to our page, and you can register for the event. It's going to be happening at the end of this month. And we do tons of things, fun things on there for our clients too.
Well, Vanessa, we've had some laughs. We've had a good time in the 2 conversations we spent together. And hopefully I didn't scare you away. We can definitely do this again down the road.
Do you want me to give one quick fact to your audience that they
Sure.
probably didn't know about me, besides me wanting to be a chiropractor? But this is kind of a fun fact, and I think you and I talked about it, is I actually have a house named after me in Celebration.
Right.
The Vanessa.
True. Yes, thank you for bringing that out. I forgot. I know we spoke about this.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think it's a fun fact. When I tell people, they're like, what? So I think that's a fun little fact about me that people don't know.
Again, for people that want to find more about Vanessa, the Barnes Real Estate Team, Facebook, Instagram, definitely check her out. Vanessa, it's always a pleasure to speak with you, and hopefully we can do this again down the road.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Bye.